Good morning, everybody. So I've come out to Riverfront Regional Park in Sonoma County outside Windsor to show you what elderberries look like and how I harvest them. I've had a lot of questions about them, and let's see if we can answer a few of them. So bear with me and let's see what we can do. So here's a good stretch to show you that elderberries kind of stand out once you learn what to look for. They're pretty easy. You can spot them even or any time of year. So lots of bushes. I got some grapevines. Some other plants, and as you can see, these clusters here are seeds and look nothing like elderberries. Another bush, nothing like an elderberry. It's fennel, nothing like elderberries. Willow tree, nothing like elderberries. More berries such as blackberries. More willow trees down there. Generally speaking, especially this time of year, you can actually spot the elderberries from down that far because you'll see the clusters. But if I keep walking, again, nope, not elderberries. And this time of year is definitely cheating because you can see the clusters of berries. So as I stand here, I can just look back and forth and I see there's no elderberries. So I'm just going to keep walking. So it's kind of hard to see, but at this park we've got two really big ponds, which almost lakes, and the Russian River runs along the border. Elderberries like a lot of water. Start off generally in shade, and then as they get mature, sometimes they outgrow the surrounding plants and turn into larger plants, and full sun doesn't seem to be a problem. So more berries. There's their oak tree, and look, there's another elderberry. And this time of year, which is about the end of August, they're a little hard to see, but there are these clusters. Little jerky, sorry about that. So as I keep moving around, there's another elderberry bush. Whoa, slow down on the zoom. These clusters make it pretty easy to tell what's what. The lighting does not. Here, this one's darker, so I keep walking. See that nice big cluster right there? Those are elderberries. In this case, nice and plump, look ready to harvest, so let's work on that next. A lot of times the berries are really high up. It's harder to find berries that are within reach from the ground, so generally I'll carry a ladder. The branches are nowhere near strong enough to hold you to climb, so unless this was some very well established, very big tree or bush, I'm not sure which they are considered, I wouldn't climb up in it. I've been on one 2 days ago that had 6-inch branches that I didn't feel anywhere near secure, that like in an oak tree I would have no problem standing in. So let's see if we can find one that's a little closer to the ground. Alright, so I found a plant where there's some bushels of berries fairly close to the ground. Now this is pretty good. You got a few that are over dry, almost like raisins, and some that are just purple and obviously just falling off. That's perfect. So this would be a good one to harvest. Now I'm not actually going to cut these because I've already got enough for this season, but I come back and I cut them about here. It gives me a handle to hold on to while I go through and pull off the berries. And yes, that's pretty much how I get them off the stems. Just roll them off. Anyway, when I was looking around, I found that little golden cluster. One of the nice things about this plant is that sometimes the branches can just be swung because they're so loose, and you can use it to kind of catch the berries. Now, I did that for demonstration purposes, but I can't do it while holding the camera, so I'm going to shut this down, grab that bushel, let's take a closer look. So work smarter, not harder. I found a stick with a branch hanging off it that I was able to hook this with. Look at the size of this. This is huge. If it'll focus. Again, what I'm looking for is some of the berries are already gone. I'm going to make sure there's no green ones. Green ones aren't the end of the world, but they're not what you're looking for. They're a lot of nice or disgusting bitter taste. I see a few raisiny ones up in there, and when I run my finger along it, they fall off with no problem. So again, I would cut this one up here, give me a nice handle to work with, and then when I get back, just go through and roll them on off. So anyway, these are the kinds of things I look for. Try to find a bush that has a whole lot of these large clumps, so you don't have to spend a whole lot of time getting a bunch of little clumps that'll take even longer, or clusters, sorry, longer to harvest what you're going for in your goal. Now here's an example of one you don't want. Don't even bother. See, it's pretty much, well, it's hard to see, but it's pretty much all green. Very little purple, and even then it's not really purple. So that one I would leave alone till later, but this one, definitely ready to harvest. So here's another example. These ones are almost kind of raisiny, and some are completely brown and dried up. The way I look at them is the raisiny ones actually I think are a little sweeter. If they come off when I roll my hand across them, I'm going to take these, because these dead ones, they're going to float when it comes time to rinse these out, so they're easy to remove. These ones will be nice and sweet, so these I would take. Move over to another cluster. This one's got some that are purple white with some shriveled brown ones, but again, I'm just gently rolling my thumb and they fall right off. I'm going to take that cluster too. Here's another random cluster. You can see almost half of it is all brown. Again, they float, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to cut it up right before the first set of leaves. Throw them in the bag. Alright, so let's talk about the bark here a little bit. So these branches on the elderberry have this like maroon or purple look to them. The bark is fairly unique, like you look at its bark. It's going to be different than all the other trees around here, but once you spot it, you'll figure it out. The other thing to look for is as the branches get bigger, they start to bow over and out, and then the shoots start to go up. That's another indicator. So here's a very young elderberry plant. So the bark is that purple maroon color. The leaves may be somewhat distinct from other trees. But on this one, you got a lot of green clusters. Also, this one's all dead. These I would not even waste my time, even though they're coming off. I wouldn't waste my time. They're all dried and shriveled to where they're almost like little rocks. Earlier I said if they're like raisins, that's okay. Well, raisins still have a little moisture and you can squeeze them a little bit. These are like little rocks. Again, not worth it. But it's fairly obvious when you look back at that red bark. And the more you learn, the more you harvest, the quicker you'll be able to ID these and know that you're collecting the right thing. But especially when you start seeing, of course there aren't any on this one, but here we go. You start seeing the purple berries, you definitely know you're in the right spot. Alright, so I left Riverfront Park and came back into Windsor. I'm on a hiking path about a quarter mile maybe from the skate park. Found this bush the other day. So here's elderberry in blossom. Hasn't gone to fruit at all yet. We got some green fruit, which is obviously not ready to harvest. And we got some mix. Let's see. Again, the test for me is how easily do they come off. The easier they come off, the happier I am, the more likely I am to cut it. Also the size of the berries. If they're really small, they're going to be a little more bitter and have more seed to fruit. The larger, more plumper are going to be sweeter with more fruit to seed. But also, if you walk around this plant, it's just, you can see fruit absolutely everywhere on it. Nice big clusters. Now I've already been here. Granted, I didn't bring a ladder. It was a bit of a hike for a ladder, but had I brought a ladder, I probably could have got almost what I need just from this one plant.